everybody, Ali Akbarian here, your resident road safety expert from Mobility Engineering. Thank you very much for sending in those questions. We love those questions. Please keep them coming. And as we always say, please hit that subscribe button that looks a bit like this pillow down there. We'd love your support to get us to that 1,000 subscribe mark. So hit pause, hit subscribe, and then come back and hit play and help us get to another pillow or something else after we get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Okay, so into today's question. So today's question is around traveling in a taxi, or maxi taxi, or a wheelchair taxi, and in particular, do I need to have the headrest or head restraint as well as my tie downs and seatbelts, right? So basically, this person has had an experience where they've gone into a taxi, and this is a common experience, and the taxi driver's like, oh yeah, no worries, I don't really care, I'll just put you in and just hope for the best, and away you go, and they haven't really tied them out, and then they've questioned and they've said, oh, well, like, aren't I supposed to have this stuff tied up, or aren't I supposed to have this headrest or something like that? And they've said, no, don't worry, we're not going to get fined, we're all good, right? And there is actually a bit of truth to that, but it's causing confusion. So first of all, a taxi driver is classified as a public driver, right? Bus drivers are also classified as a public driver. A public driver is a driver that you generally, like when you go into a taxi, you'll see kind of like their license up on display. If you go into a bus, you'll see the license of the bus driver on display. That's kind of like a sign of that's a public driver. They've got their driver on display, they're driving for the public, you know, they're driving all different people, and it's not specifically like for one service or one person. Uber, for example, is for one service, it's for Uber, so it is technically not a public driver, but we're not going to get into the technicalities of that. Just if it's a public driver, the laws actually do not apply to that driver. And this can cause confusion because that taxi driver will not get fined if you're pulled over without a headrest or a head restraint or without restraints. They're not going to get in trouble, but the law still applies to the occupant. So what that means is that the occupant could get in trouble, or the occupant could face a fine. So it's very, particularly if they're over 16, definitely they will have a risk. So it's very important that if the features are there, so if you're getting a wheelchair vehicle, then you need to make sure that your wheelchair is tied down. You do have the head restraint, you do have the seatbelt. Everything's got to be there just like a private vehicle. The laws are still the same. The only difference is the driver of public vehicles can't be prosecuted for incorrect behavior of the passengers in the car. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the laws are still the same. Driving around, everyone's still got the same laws. All right, so hopefully that clarifies that question. As we always say, keep those questions coming in. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button down there. We'd love to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we'll see you next time.